Hello and welcome to another edition of Charch Chat. I am Paul Charchian from LeagueSafe.com. Thank you for joining us here at Open Sports. It is time for a sneak attack passing game style. This is where each week I bring you at least, usually about 4 guys that are not normally in starting lineups. Some of them are available on the waiver wire that you can pick up and play this week, usually due to matchups, injuries, different things that have happened that give some guys some unusual opportunities to score. So we begin at the quarterback position. Trent Edwards. I've rolled the dice on Trent Edwards before with mixed results. He hasn't thrown more than 1 touchdown pass in any game this year, which is disappointing, first and foremost. But he has an excellent opportunity this week. Goes up against San Diego. Now, San Diego's got their gambling corners, Antonio Cromartie, Quentin Jammer. Those guys like to make big plays, and as a result, they tend to give up a lot of big plays as well. They've given up 10 passing touchdowns already. That is a lot, and Trent Edwards has a very good opportunity here. Had the bye week to get better from the concussion that knocked him out of the previous game. That was, unfortunately, that was a game where I had predicted him to throw a couple of touchdowns, and he ended up getting knocked out in the first series, so that one went belly up. But I'm going back to the well on Trent Edwards. I think this is going to be the first 2-touchdown game of the season for Trent Edwards. All right, next, Mark Bulger going up against Dallas. Now, Bulger's an absolutely nothing, and I'm predicating the selection on Orlando Pace's health. If Pace is not in the game, well, then it's DeMarcus Ware against Adam Goldberg protecting his blind side, and all bets are off at that point. But if Pace plays, I like Mark Bulger here. Now, it's not just because the Rams won last week. Bulger only put up 136 yards in that win, and it was a ball control win, and it was a defensive win, first and foremost, for the Rams. But I like some opportunities here because of the injuries in the Dallas secondary, and I really think that this is going to be a different game with a lot of passing in it for the Rams, who will also potentially be playing from behind. So you look at the injuries. Pac-Man Jones, it's not an injury, it's suspension, he's out. Terrence Newman out as well, so that's a significant change. And then the original Roy Williams on Dallas, safety Roy Williams is out as well, so some key members missing from that Dallas secondary. So if you're in a tight bind at quarterback, and we find out for sure that Orlando Pace is playing, then Mark Bulger could be a nice sneaky start. Okay, next, let's go to some wide receivers. Derek Mason goes up against Miami. Now, Mason is the epitome of he is the most boring starting wide receiver in the NFL. That's it. I mean, he's the anti-Chad Johnson, although puts up similar numbers, very few touchdowns. Mason, known mostly as a guy who just catches a lot of passes and doesn't convert those catches into touchdowns or yards. But still, somebody you could spot start, and I think this is one of those spots. Goes up against Miami. Miami has allowed the most yardage to wide receivers and the second most touchdowns to opposing wide receivers. So, good opportunity here against Miami. You know, obviously Joe Flacco learning on the job. He's playing well. I mean, not great, but he's playing well, and by rookie standards, pretty darn well. And it just seems like he's ready to have a couple of touchdown passes in a game, and this is a very good opportunity for him. Next, Kevin Walter going up against Detroit. Walter just sort of lost in the shuffle with Andre Johnson playing really well. People have kind of forgotten about him, but he's still putting up good stats and meaningful stats. And what I like about him with Matt Schaub, especially different than Sage Rosenfeld, Schaub really sees all of his receivers. And so he throws not just to Johnson, but he also throws to Owen Daniels at the tight end position and Kevin Walter. So I think he's better at going through his reads, his progressions, and finding open guys. That could be easily Kevin Walter. Detroit, this is a secondary I've been picking on all season in this segment. Just, I believe, the worst starting personnel in the league in the secondary. And, you know, other than Lee Bowden, I don't like any of them. And this is a very good opportunity for Kevin Walter. The Lions are allowing the 3rd most wide receiver touchdowns, 1.4 per game, and they've allowed touchdowns to wide receivers in every game this year. So, you know, you put all that together, and you know some touchdowns are coming through the air for Houston. And, you know, sure, I like Andre Johnson better, but Kevin Walter, a nice sneaky start this week. So there you go, sneak attack here at Charch Chat passing game style. Thanks for watching, and best of luck in Week 7's games.
So you think you can tackle a pro? There's only one way to find out. Click on fantasy at opensports.com.